we're over investing in technology, we're under investing in the employee. Where do you see retailers leaving like the most money on the table as it comes to their staff?
I think it's in that area where, and this is not an inexpensive investment, to get them to fully understand the customer journey through their store so that they can have a sense of empathy. And the same goes for understanding the experience of other people that are fellow store brand employees that have different operational roles and responsibilities. So developing a sense of unit communities will help establish staff associates' alignment with the company, compassion for each other. I get back to kindness and human to human skills. And then that on a B2B internal level translates to the customer as well, because it creates that environment and you want to invite people into that and they feel that. And they want to come back to it and they remember it. And they remember that more than a self-service transaction on a kiosk.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to another episode of the Innovate on Purpose podcast, hosted by Matt Mueller,
Best-selling author of The Mindful Innovator and Rethink Retail's top retail expert.
We help retail leaders find clarity so they can grow their businesses purposefully.
We will uncover mindful tips, innovative solutions, and purposeful leadership advice and strategies that you can apply immediately to your retail innovation. Are you ready to innovate on purpose?
Hey, before we jump into the episode today, I just wanted to say thank you for hitting the play button. You being here fires me up, and I cannot wait to share with you the insights that are going to make a difference in your business. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and leave a review so I can reach as many retail leaders as possible. They too need to hear this. Okay, let's do it. Welcome back to Innovate on Purpose. Today, we're exploring one of the biggest untapped profit drivers in retail, your store associates. Retailers often spend millions on store design and displays, but overlook the fact that a well-trained associate can be more profitable than the most expensive display. My guest today, Barney Stacher, principal consultant at Rethink Retail Advisory, is going to be our guest. And Barney has worked with leading retailers to unlock hidden opportunities in their stores. And today he's sharing how to turn associates into true revenue multipliers. By the end of this conversation, you'll walk away with quick hit strategies that drive add-on sales and repeat visits. You're going to get training methods borrowed from hospitality that raise conversion without raising payroll, and tools to measure the direct revenue impact of better customer engagement. This all ties into what we call the hidden opportunities playbook, helping retail leaders control the controllables inside their stores instead of stressing over outside forces like tariffs or inflation. So let's dive in. Barney, welcome to the show today.
Matt, great to be here. Thank you for inviting me to this conversation.
Of course, I think we've been having this conversation for quite some time, just like us two alone, and figured it's time to just share it with the world. Let's get it out there. It's an important topic, and you're so passionate about it. So I'm so glad that you're here to talk about just what we can do with store employees and how we're going to find those hidden opportunities that are going to unleash some really great results for retailers.
Well,
So
yeah, there's you made the premise, presented the premise that people or retailers are overlooking their individual store associates in favor of technology or an in-store merchandising display or just the product itself. And
mhm.
your staff, your employees, your store associates, your labor is perhaps your most expensive investment, and therefore they are most valuable to you and have the opportunity to return the ROI in so many ways beyond the experience in store. Um, and so not utilizing them, allowing, I mean, how many of us, you, me, whoever's listening to this, have gone into a retail store and not been engaged in a manner in which we feel welcome, in which we feel understood. And there is no AI that can truly, in a visceral way, make you feel welcome and understood. And I'm a big
Yeah,
fan of AI and technology facilitating human to human relationships, but
absolutely. But
ultimately
it doesn't replace it.
does not ever
No,
replace it. I use the word simulacrum, which, so yes,
it's a big word.
it's a big word, yes. But I've been using it a lot lately in the development of AI avatars. The Marco Rubio story, and what is genuine and what is credible in your relationship with a brand. Is it the true human representative that embodies the brand, that carries the flag of the brand, assuming the retailer is one which has a good reputation? Does it build on and does it reinforce that reputation? Does it create a relationship from the brand to the staff associate, store associate, to the consumer, where they're an ambassador, where they're creating a true, direct, um, credible, and authentic pipeline to that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess I'll state early on in the episode here that I am definitely one that has thought technology leads the way within our stores. Starting an innovation team at a CPG company, um, one of the first things we started to think about was, what can we do to mitigate the work of the deli associate, because it's for the deli industry.
Mm.
And we're like, okay, well, what kind of robots can we put in place? What kind of lasers can we use? What AI tools can be put into stores? How do we create these, like, really cool, technologically advanced type of solutions in the store? And everything that we did in the beginning completely just flopped. And it was because we were trying to replace the employee rather than to support the employee. Um, and I think that was definitely like, something that was an early lesson that we learned, that it was like, oh, we need to be thinking about the employee. And I recently just saw a post on LinkedIn. I can't remember who posted it or what retailer it is,
Mhm.
but they had this really cool looking glass tube in the front of their store that had a hologram in it. And you can just go up to the hologram and press a button in front of it and ask it a question, and it'll give you an answer. And it was basically their way of saying, okay, well, if you want, help in the store, you can talk to this chat bot with a hologram there that looks like an employee of our store. And it was just like, seeing it, they were like, oh my God, you got to see this amazing technology. And I'm like, oh no, this actually is not engaging. It's actually kind of sad, like that they're taking the employee away from having that opportunity to talk to the consumer. And there's so much opportunity there, but they put in this expensive piece of technology to their store rather than just focusing in on, what can I employ with my frontline employees, and help them actually get that job done.
Yeah. I've had that experience and I won't name them, but some fast fashion retailers where they're not um, training and teaching their employees to observe the in-store experience of the customer and where there's friction. Something as
Hmm.
simple as that, which is, there are 9 people online. We don't have enough people on the register at the moment. We have plenty of people stocking the shelves, but we have a lack of flow. And so, as a human observation, doesn't have to be AI, because I get this from the hospitality industry, having worked with Hyatt. You're able to, if you have enough exposure to the responsibility and the flow as a store associate, to know where there needs to be some flexibility, to shift some staff, to open up
Mhm.
another register. And there's not enough of that going on. There is an assumption that technology, or we'll put it in the hands of the consumer to do that. And I think we have to be very careful of whatever we give to the consumer as a piece of technology to quote enable the store associate that actually makes it harder for the consumer. And so,
Yeah.
that's a concern of mine. And again, going back to hospitality, and some of the most basic things a store associate can do is set the context for the customer's experience at the store. When they enter, eye contact, a head shake, acknowledgement. If you're busy with another customer, acknowledge. I'll be with you in a moment. Excuse me.
Mhm.
And be a human and treat people as you would want to be treated. And I bring
That's
that
kind of
all the
common
way.
sense, right?
It seems to be. Having
Right?
said
But it's
that,
not always followed.
we're relying more on technology for those things.
Yeah. So when we think about, okay, we're over investing in technology, we're under investing in the employee. Where do you see retailers leaving like the most money on the table as it comes to their staff? Like, where should they be investing?
Sure. Um, I think it's in that area where, and this is not an inexpensive investment, to get them to fully understand the customer journey through their store so that they can have a sense of empathy. And the same goes for understanding the experience of other people that are fellow store brand employees that have different operational roles and responsibilities. So, developing a sense of unit communities will help establish staff associates' alignment with the company, compassion for each other. I get back to kindness and human to human skills. And then that on a B2B internal level translates to the customer as well, because it creates that environment. And you want to invite people into that, and they feel that. And they want to come back to it, and they remember it. And they remember that more than a self-service transaction on a kiosk. So to me, um, that's going to create the repeat visit. That's going to give
Yeah.
you the opportunity for an add-on sale where you're having that human to human conversation, because everybody is doing, pardon me, I love the technology, everybody's doing personalization. You've bought this, so you want this. You like this, so you should buy this. You have this need, you're this tall, you're this whatever we've identified, you're located in this place, the weather's this, so therefore you want this. We as humans, I think, are reaching our limit. Perhaps we won't in the next generation as we begin to plug in to the machine, literally, according to Elon Musk. Um, we're losing the bandwidth for that kind of interaction, and we yearn for a human to human, credible, authentic relationship that seems to be real. And whether you can trust them or not, you get to make that decision, which doesn't seem to be an algorithm. So I'm having
Yeah. There's going to be more trust there for sure. Like I can't tell you how many text messages I get every single day from different brands and retailers. And I just don't even look at them anymore. I can't. It's way too much. You're overwhelmed, and I know that it's some algorithm that is sending me a message. It's not a real person, so I'm ignoring it. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, and we've talked before and other times about the in-store, experiential retail. What is that like? How do we differentiate ourselves? How do we make it memorable? How do we make it a takeaway? How do we make it something that people want to talk about? And how many Instagram moments can there be? It really has to be a human to human moment. What is that feeling that I take away?
Mhm.
It's not that image. It's not that fake image. It's not that two dimension. And why? Because I can create it now on AI. So
Yeah.
what's the big deal? Um,
Yep.
so make it
So
real.
getting to
That's the hospitality
yes.
thing.
All right. So getting back to like the quick hit engagement strategies. Like, so people here on the line right now that are listening into this, what can they go and do in their store right now to get those add-on sales and those repeat visits? Like, what are the two simple strategies that they should deploy immediately?
First is speak to your individual sales associates. Ask them, begin to have a conversation with them about what they like about their role in the company and their relationship with their customer, and what they like about the product, because you want them to feel like they have an authentic relationship with it. And then ask them to tell your story to you so that you can understand how well they're explaining that to the customer and how well they're engaging with the customer. Again, have them role play some of those experiences as well. That's one of the things from hospitality that I take is sit down as a customer and take that experience to heart. And so doing so opens their heart up and their ability to communicate to the people coming in the door. The other thing is, also check your hiring. Make sure people are hospitable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And I think it's really simple to start to implement is just having those conversations. It's amazing what you can learn when you start talking to the front line, whether it's, learning how connected they are to your brand, how much they really do abide by those hospitality principles. It's so important. And you lean into to that next part of it too, that lessons in from we could take from hospitality. So it's having those conversations and those role playing. Are there any other techniques that a leader can use that we could take from hospitality without adding in additional payroll, without being in the stores constantly and being there day to day? Because leaders have the job to do too, right? They have to do all the admin and make sure things are running at a higher level. What are the things can we do beyond that for hospitality?
Well, I think one is empowering, making sure that the frontline workers are empowered. If they're frustrated, if they have an inability to make decisions, and having said that, you have to hold them accountable for the decisions they make. So, identifying um, the set of decisions that they can make on behalf of the customer and the inventory and the flow that don't require the presence of the manager
Hmm.
is, I think, critical. So control, the ability to give feedback openly without any fear, is critical in hospitality. Um, and so being able to accept also people's individual traits and not being very restrictive on that. It's a community of different people, retail, just like hospitality. Um,
Hmm.
not everybody's uniform. Uh, and so to me, that's very important.
Yeah. I love how you start off with empowerment too. I think that's so important is that our teams need to feel like they're empowered and they can make those decisions. But yes, they do have to figure out, well, what's that framework or those guardrails that make sure that the decision making is right. So you really need to lead with, well, education and making sure that they are ready and equipped to be empowered. But I think Disney does an amazing job of doing this with their employees. Um, I'm going to mess up exactly what they have in place. I think it's the 5 keys, could be the 4 keys, but basically they have principles in place that say, okay, well, here's the priorities. Like you are empowered to make decisions within this order,
Hmm.
and it's like safety, courtesy, show are 3 that I remember out of the 4 or 5 that they have. But basically, it starts off with like, well, the first thing you got to make sure is that one is everybody safe. If not safe, they'll make sure you do something about it to make sure that everybody is safe. Are we courteous to our guests? That's like the second one. If everything is happening in a courteous manner, keep on going. If not,
Hmm.
correct it. Right. So it's telling it the employees, the cast members, to correct these things in order. So I think it's really important
You're
to have
absolutely
a
right.
framework.
The guardrails that you put in high used, again, to borrow from hospitality,
Hmm.
be friendly, not familiar. I mean, you certainly don't want to, especially in this day and age, talk politics. Um,
Hmm.
it's like saying, congratulations on your pregnancy. Without being so,
Bonnie, I'm not pregnant.
really? You're glowing. um, yeah, you get it. So yeah, those guardrails are absolutely key.
Absolutely, yeah. But great lessons that we can take from hospitality to put right into our stores. But I think at the end of the day, we have a job to get done. We need to hit our performance measures. How do we measure impact for things like this that are happening in store? How do we measure impact of associate
Sure.
for associates?
Sure, it's not the net promoter score these days, really, that you can use that way. You're going to wait for that, and that's not real. And it's
No.
not, I think I joked the other day on a call about Bhutan and their GDP is happiness. And so,
Hmm.
and I think we spoke another time about just what is the level of employee happiness, assuming all things being equal, that numbers are being met, inventory is not being walked out the back door, that certain, nobody's smoking on premises, whatever the
Hmm.
major infractions are the employees happy? You know, if they're happy,
Yeah.
then things seem to be working right. That means they're empowered. That means they have a voice. That means they're treated with respect. That means they are able to manage upwards, is a term I use, meaning they've got a store manager who may not be there, but they need something on store level. So they're going to be able to reach out to that store manager and say, hey, listen, Fred, Matt, I need more toilet paper, damn it. And
Hmm.
it'll get there without fear of any repercussion. And he'll be able to perhaps, and we talk about empowerment, completed staff work. Okay, you think there's a problem because there's always XYZ wrong and you have a solution for it? Well, great. Bring it to the table, make a series of recommendations, tell me which one you want to take care of, and then eventually you'll just do it without asking me because you'll have incorporated the cultural and operational mindset. So those are some of the things that I think about in terms of consistency and measurement for hospitality, being able to be self-managed, being able to have a happy staff, measurement,
Yeah.
like simple things. Are people
Yeah.
reliable?
So if I were to put it on a scorecard, like what are the things that we're putting on the scorecard? I'm curious. Like I'm putting a tracker together to measure um associate to customer engagement. Like what are some things that we could add?
Some of that success is actually measured in the value of the transaction, right?
Hmm.
Don't you think?
Yeah, revenue
A
impact for
happy
sure.
customer is a good spending customer.
Hmm.
That's your best customer. Now, everyone needs to be happy, but ultimately, I want to measure my sales force performance, my sales associate, store associate performance on a daily basis.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to measure like associate led transactions to see like what's the average ticket size there and loyalty measures that could be there, like how many
Well,
times do they come into store versus like D2C, and see, are your employees outperforming the D2C website? That would be a great way to say, hey.
absolutely. As
Mhm.
and it doesn't have to be a net number. It can be a relational percentage performance. So you're able to compare store to store, team member to team member
Mhm.
on those actual net numbers, like shift A, this group of people always have a sales per hour of and a transaction rate of, regardless of the amount of traffic that is on the
Yeah.
street during the day. So there are a number of numbers that you can set for individuals and groups that don't put anybody in a light of shame either,
Mhm.
that make it more of a peer-to-peer sport.
Absolutely, yeah. And another way too, I think we can measure like on the associate side of things, like the associate satisfaction. I think how do you know if your employees are happy? One way would be to say, well, what's your turnover rate, right? So like I think that's another way to measure too. Like
Mhm.
if your
Another,
employees are happy, they're not leaving.
yeah,
Uh, at
yeah,
least not as fast as they are, when they're not happy.
yeah.
So that's another way to measure it. But we also actually had a conversation recently with our friend Ron Thurston, and it was today. And in that conversation, he mentioned a way to measure happiness with one company that he worked with, which is super simple and easy. And it was just by putting a smiley face in front and saying, "Okay, how satisfied are you with today's shift?" And it had different faces on there. Like,
Yeah.
how simple is that? And like for a large retailer, that's something that could be implemented very easily. Like at the the time clock where they punch out. How happy are you?
That
You press that button.
that's where he mentioned it. It was either punch out with
Hmm.
a smiley or a frown.
Yeah,
Was your day
that's
good or
brilliant.
bad? And that speaks to what was the general gestalt like for the day. What was this? And why? And then investigate further. Is there a pattern? Is there some consistency? Is there a measurement to check up against that says, well, these guys have been unhappy for a while, and look at their sales, look at their
Yeah,
turnover, or they're unhappy, so let's see what's going on so there isn't turnover. You know.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I think that was a great point. And it brings me back to the public space. I think I mentioned the airport bathrooms and the company that initially came out with the red, yellow, green, and red, yellow, orange, and green, whatever it is, um,
yeah.
for pressing the button, is this bathroom clean?
Yeah, that
Real time.
that is a great start to it. I think that's a great start. Now, what I'm seeing other companies do now too is actually go to a more live time version of that. That's like, data that you would get on a weekly or monthly basis whenever it was loaded to the system. But now we're starting to see live data. Like
It's,
imagine like that employee clocks out, sad face, a follow-up message. What happened? What's wrong?
yeah,
What can we help with? Now all of a sudden you have like live time feedback where you can actually go and correct the problem while it's actually happening rather than having them go home and tell their family about the crappy day that they had at work.
right. That real time, and to use the bathroom, pardon me, as an example,
Yeah.
you get 5 reds in a row, or within a 15-minute period, you better send the SWAT team down to the bathroom because there's a problem there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And real-time action on the
Oh gosh.
no, I'm sorry to use that as a metaphor there. Um, the
It
hospi
works.
the hospitality industry, you don't have a clean bathroom, you do not get a customer back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that goes for retailers too. So totally. So now I want to get to like the hidden opportunities. So some of the work that you and I and Deanne Campbell are doing together at Rethink Retail is all about finding hidden opportunities in the stores. As other retailers are trying to focus in on tariffs and inflation and the other things that they can't control, we're kind of pointing them into a direction, saying, "Hey, the answers are right there in front of you in your stores. That's where the opportunities really lie." But we're not looking in there. So, where do you see retail leaders consistently overlooking that revenue potential in their stores? Like, what do you see?
Sure. And I again, I borrow this from hospitality. It's that floor manager position, whether that person is just assigned on a daily basis, or that's their role is to be on the floor every day to facilitate the flow of customers. And we hear too much about there's 9 people online at the register, and there's 7 registers, and there's only one open. And so the ability for a real person to intercede and manage that situation and direct the other staff to ebb and flow, and the same goes not just transactionally, but for inventory, and to manage that effectively on a human to
Yeah.
human basis, real time, like a quarterback.
Yes, I was about to say. Essentially, you need a quarterback in the store, and a lot of times, is that quarterback really there? Are they fully trained, and are they actually present? Can't tell you how many times you go into a retail store and the quarterback is sitting in the back office doing the schedule at prime time. right? And it's a matter of making sure that you have the right people, the responsible people on the floor at the right times.
Again, the hospitality term, yeah, the general manager is sitting in his office ordering fish for the next day, and it's 7:30 at night, and, like, what's that about? Where
Yeah.
who gave that person the idea that that was a priority over service of the transaction, you know?
Yeah, there's something probably more deep rooted that's even happening there. So it's like it's understanding like why is that happening? Because do they not understand like that this is important for them to be on the floor, or is it that they're just burnt out and they need to escape the day? Are they feeling like they're not supported? So like it's digging deeper and on what's the root cause of why is that manager not there? And that's something that our hidden opportunities work has uncovered for retailers, where it's like it's going in and having those conversations with employees to understand what are the true pain points, the root pain points that can be easily dissolved. And like
Well,
with
we
that
talked
case of this,
earlier about a quick 360 assessment,
yes,
from employees, casual, and quick,
hmm,
real time to determine really, again, or is it smiley or is it frown?
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and then, as you said, go deeper on that at that point.
Yeah, and there's also, like, this other element of having a third party do it, which is so powerful. It's like, I know, like, when I used to work at a retailer and I would talk to my employees, everything's, honky dory, everything's good, great job, I love your support, you're an awesome manager. But, then you get back the reports and you find out, like, what the opportunities are. No one wants to tell you what the opportunities are because they don't wanna make you upset or, tell you what's really going on sometimes. But, they fear retribution. Like, what's gonna happen if I tell them that I'm not happy here and they're doing a poor job? Well, then all of a sudden, are we gonna face retribution from that?
Right.
Or
Yeah. And it
so employees don't really wanna tell you how they really feel.
right.
But a third party coming in, all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, let me tell you, what's really happening behind the scenes. My manager says this, but this is really what the problem
Yeah,
is."
an
And you
independent
can get
authority that they feel that they can open up to and trust,
yeah.
without risk of retribution is really a significant element of finding those hidden opportunities.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you have I think a retailer, if they have the resources available, I would definitely go a third party just to do it. If you don't, I mean, it still can be done by your team. It's just a matter of making sure that you have the right relationship and you're building on that trust level. And once the trust is built and established, then you're going to get that raw, real, authentic feedback from your employees.
Yeah, and then, going back to, just as you said, the hidden opportunities, just the friction, the observational friction, whether it's, where there's physical friction for flow in the floor, where there's potential for shortage, because of what's happening on the floor, the lack of appropriate visibility to appropriate merchandise and maintenance of standards, um, the things that a third party can identify very quickly, very easily,
Yeah.
see where there are consistent issues, that can be resolved, in almost in real time.
Yeah. That gets me to my last question. So as we finish up this episode here, we're going to put our phones away or stop listening to this podcast. We're going to get back out on the sales floor in our stores. We're going to go visit our stores. What is the one controllable that they should be focusing in on first? Like, what's the first thing they should be doing?
Um, your sales associates are your biggest investment, right? Your, biggest risk because they're customer facing
Hmm.
in terms of potentially alienating or a customer or bringing them into the family of your brand and store experience. So, um, be kind, be respectful, um, expect that in turn. And I think that
Love it.
setting that tone and that environment is what's key.
I love it. I think that's straight up advice, powerful advice, and something that I'll be doing on my next store visit as well. So, Barney, thank you so much for being on today. Appreciate your time, and always a fun conversation. Also, make sure you hook up with Barney Stacher on LinkedIn. Follow us on Rethink Retail Advisory, and also head to topretailexperts.com/hidden-opportunities to get a checklist, about I think a 60-point checklist for you to go into your store, have those authentic conversations, and evaluate your stores to find where are those opportunities that you can control and take care of your revenue, impact your revenue. So, Barney, thank you so much for being on the show today,
Thank you, Matt.
and look forward to continuing the conversation.
Great. We'll talk soon. Thanks so much.
We have made it to the end of another episode. Thank you for tuning in. A couple of things before you go. If you have found value in this episode, I am sure you'll find value in what we have coming up. So please subscribe so you will have access and know when we launch the next episode. Also, leave a review. The more reviews we have, the further our reach becomes, and I truly want this to be heard by as many leaders as possible. Don't hog this all for yourself. I would love to hear your insights on this topic, so meet me on social media at Matt Mueller Innovation on LinkedIn and Instagram. And lastly, if you want to learn more about my story and what I can do for you and your company, go to themindfulinnovator.com. I would love to help you innovate on purpose. Until next time, just remember, bring a level of awareness to each conversation, each observation, each moment, and you can create great change in this world. Thank you.